Hey, hello everybody. So I want to do a little bit about camp cooking. I'm going to a music festival this year, Northwest World Reggae Festival, and I'm going to be doing some basically car camping cooking. So that's what I'm going to go into. I am a novice camper, so if you are an expert camper looking for camping ideas, go elsewhere. I don't consider myself an expert at all, but probably a couple dozen and a half music festivals over a little over a decade. 4 day weekends of camping. It's a lot of camping over a period of time. Some summers up to 3 times, going for 4 days at a time. So that's mild amount of camping, but being out for 4 days in a row, you get to learn a few things even if you're a novice camper. So I'm going to go into my experience just of around a decade of music festival camping for a long weekend and what I've picked up, the good things, bad things, and wasted things. So I usually do, they're all basically car camping. Pull up in a car and you're hiking your stuff. I usually use a wagon or some sort of a cart. Sometimes, like Sierra Nevada is really cool in the fact that you pull up and literally you camp right behind your car. Downside is you get 10 foot by 10 foot and that's it. So it's pretty tight. You put up your canopy and that's what you get. So anyway, this one, Northwest World Reggae Festival, is going to be pretty nice. It's a big, huge pasture land, so it should be really nice for camping. There's also some woods camping, so what you're going to bring based on where you want to plan on camping. So if you don't have a canopy, maybe you think about going out into the woods a little bit, because camping out in this full sun during a whole 4 day music festival is not fun unless you have a canopy. So letting me go into it. Go into some of the different camping stove options. I'm going to be using a propane barbecue because they do not allow. My favorite stove is actually, it's like a little bowl camping stove basically, and it's a what do you call it, a white gas stove. So it's a pressurized white gas stove. You just put a little bit of white gas in there. It's got literally a little thumb pump on the side. Close that down, turn a little knob, light it, and it has once it gets going, it has kind of like this little jets, and it's very much like a little one burner stove at home. It's really cool. But I can't bring that because no open flame. So I have a propane closing type barbecue, which will have no exposed flame. I have a 20-pound bottle, and I have to bring a fire extinguisher if I'm allowed to use it, I guess. So gotta remember to bring a fire extinguisher, I guess, this year. So that'll be something I have to remember. What else do we have here? I'm just trying to think of all the different camping cooking. So let's go into it. Over the years, I used to go big, and I used to bring just about everything and plan on buying very little. And what did I do? I would find I would end up spending, close to $100 on groceries, right? Because you do it up. I'm gonna have meat. I'm gonna have this. I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna have snacks. And I'm gonna have beer. And I'm gonna have this and that. And before you know it, you're blowing well over $100 bringing food for one person for a 4 day, 3 day weekend, something like that. So I used to go very big. I had this huge Blue Rhino portable barbecue I would bring. After like the first or second year of reggae, I would look around at everybody, what they're doing. Had a pretty rough first, second reggae, kind of figuring out what people are doing. And I saw that the best thing to do would be a small portable barbecue with a 20-pound barbecue tank attached by a hose. So that would allow you to cook all weekend long, and you're not blowing a ton of money on those little green bottles that go out constantly. So I would bring a huge Blue Rhino barbecue. It was a portable one, but still big, right? I mean, I'm talking like something like this. But what I would do is I'd do hamburgers, chicken, steak, stuff like that. You can actually cook breakfast on a barbecue. I'll go into that when I actually show the little barbecue I'll be bringing. But you can actually do a really nice breakfast. So after years and years of going around, what would I say? My strategy is probably going to be focus on cooking breakfast for myself. Maybe bring a sandwich or some pre-cooked stuff that I'll eat the first day or two, and then probably the last day or two I'll be relying on eating a lot of the festival food except for breakfast. So why am I doing that? Because then I'm thinking I'm going to buy $20 to $40 worth of groceries, including water. Maybe bring, one 12-pack of beer and some other fun stuff. just trying to kind of keep it minimal, right? After all these years, I have a Toyota Corolla, right? I don't have a truck. That's another thing, is what kind of vehicle are you bringing? And that allows how much room. I remember the first year I sprung for the Ambassador Pass out at Reggae on the River. I don't know if these people were doing, they had kind of like a extended camp. It was like a upgraded camp pass you could get, or if these were actually people who were vendors at the festival. But they literally brought a living room out to the woods, and I'm not kidding. They had couches, they had a rug, they had a full-size propane refrigerator. If you've ever seen these RV refrigerators, it was, I'm not kidding you, it was as big as me, and it was like a full open with a freezer and a fridge, and you know, those are the things that you have to have perfectly level, and then you run it off of a propane tank all weekend. And they literally had brought their entire living room out to the woods, and that's what they were doing. So you can go from that to sleeping in a rug on the ground. So that's the two extremes. I like to go somewhere in the middle. Probably your budget too is going to be a big thing that's going to drive this, right? If trying to think, if you are on a very extreme budget, just getting that ticket was a big stretch, and you're showing up, you don't have any money, that you cannot even think about buying festival food because it's too expensive. I was just thinking of simple menu. A lot of this probably you could get away with without even having a cooler, or maybe you just have a small cooler and you could just afford to buy a bag or two of ice over the weekend. Top ramen, right? Top ramen is always great. You can almost eat that dry in a pinch. I have top ramen. That's nice. That's good. It's a nice evening meal. You can bring a couple things to. You can bring some beef jerky. Cut up some beef jerky in the ramen. That adds some protein to it. Peanut butter and jelly, always a big winner, right? Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. To speak about that, any sort of a sandwich, right? Bring deli meats, cheeses, simple. You can make really simple sandwiches, and you know, that's how I usually would go with sandwiches, right? That's real easy. You don't have to worry. The other problem about like doing barbecuing is, are you bringing raw meat, right? Do you have to worry about contaminating raw meat and cooked meat, or raw meat juices just ruining your entire cooler? That's happened. Let's see. So then other strategies are, you can cook some stuff before you go and bring it with you in the cooler. And here are some things that I don't mind eating cold. Maybe you don't either. Make some macaroni and cheese. You know, you don't have to make it on site. Although macaroni and cheese is almost something I think you could make on site, because we do our mac and cheese in one dish. So if you could pour out most of that water without losing all your noodles, I think you could probably make mac and cheese on site pretty easily out in the woods. Didn't want to do that though. There's no reason you couldn't bring a big old thing of macaroni and cheese. There's no reason you can't eat that cold, or maybe even you just warm it up a little bit. I mean, honestly, that's something you can leave out in the sun for about 15 minutes on a good day, and it's going to be warm. Spaghetti, very good. And tastes very good cold. I don't mind cold meat sauce spaghetti. Any sort of a spaghetti meat sauce kind of a thing would be great. Pizza is good cold, right? So you can make pizza the day before, or even you could buy a pizza on the way. You have it warm for right after you get done setting up camp as your lunch, and then throw it in the cooler, and then you have a day or two of food. So anyway, those are some cheap strategies, right? You can get pizza, just frozen pizza, real cheap. You cook it at home, bring it wrapped up in aluminum foil. So those are kind of like some real cheap ideas. I don't know if I'm actually going to do something nice. I've kind of found I don't eat a lot of red meat, and if I do eat red meat, though, I splurge. I'll go to Costco and I'll go get like the top sirloin prime, or it's like $10 a pound. But I don't do that every day. I do that once every 2 months, every 3 months, and then it's just organic chicken. That's pretty much what we eat, is a lot of organic chicken. A lot of my mistakes over the years, right, is always bringing too much food. You just have kind of big eyes. You're really excited to go on the camping trip, and you just go shopping and you blow like $150 on food. I tell you, $150 buys an awful lot of like really nice meals from vendors up there. So kind of try to find out realistically. You bring food. You bought $150 of food, and you've got it in your cooler for 4 days out in 100 degrees. You bring that food home. like realistically, did you keep that at a good enough temperature over the 4 days? Otherwise, you've got to throw it away, because basically you've reached the point where now you're going to make yourself sick. And even if over that weekend, 4 days, 3 days, whatever, you got to make sure on 100-degree days your food's staying at the right temperatures. Otherwise, you're going to make yourself sick as a dog if you're bringing raw food hoping to cook it. So that'd be one of the areas I've gone wrong, is having ice. You know what I wanted to show too? I'm going to pause this video for a second. Okay, we're back to it. So speaking of contaminated coolers, one of the worst things about having a cooler is the ice. The ice melts, and then now your food is a mess, right? And I always done this year after year, and I never even thought about it. But there's this guy. He's got a channel, living in a van, I think, and he lives in a minivan in Florida. I can't imagine, that must be rough. But he does it. He seems with pretty good cheer, and he's doing it out in the wood. Not out in the woods, but he has a couple places he goes that are kind of out in the boonies. But his idea, because he does not, a lot of those folks that are living out of vans and stuff, they have really nice 12-volt fridges that they're running off of solar, and they have a pretty nice setup, right? But this guy is just basically buying food that doesn't need to be refrigerated, or he literally is picking up a drink cup of ice and inside of a little cooler, and that's what he has to do every day. So he had the idea, for a couple of days, he was going with a cooler inside his minivan, but decided it was taking up too much room, and then also getting ice every day was a lot of work. So at a music festival, though, the ice is right there. No reason you can't get ice every day. But he had a brilliant idea. Where am I going with this for talking so much? Brilliant idea. Why don't you store your ice in a waterproof container inside of your cooler, right? So I have this, I like to get this protein over at Costco. So I'll get the protein, and then when you're done with the protein, you have this beautiful container. And after watching this guy's video and knowing I'm going camping, first of all, that's a pretty sizable container volume-wise, right? I think I'm going to save up 2 of these containers, and then maybe even 3. And basically, I get a bag of ice, and I'm going to fill this up to the brim with ice, seal this shut, and leave it at the bottom of the cooler. And so this is going to sit at the bottom of the cooler, and as it melts, it'll probably be start up here. It'll be down to here with water, and then when it's down to there with water, take it out. I don't know that it still smells pretty chocolatey even after I sprayed it a couple times with vinegar, so I don't know that I'm actually going to use the water, except for maybe just the beginning steps of cleaning something, some of my dishes or something. But when you get done, I'll take it out of the cooler, no spilling, no ruining the contents of my cooler, pour it out or whatever, wash my hands, whatever I want to do with the water. But then I go get a new bag of ice, fill it up, put it back in the cooler like this, and I do not contaminate anything with water, right? That is genius. So thank you, living in a van, man, because that is a great idea. So that's what I'm going to do this year, is all my ice is going to go into a container, and the container is going inside the cooler. I don't know why I'd never thought of that. It was just so simple and so brilliant. So anyway, that's going to be my ice strategy. First year I'm going to try it. I'll let you know how it works out in my after experience videos. But anyway, that's going to be my cooking ideas. I'm probably going to go real limited, mostly just be cooking breakfast for myself. What I did last year, I went to Reggae on the River last year, and that was a great time. Reggae on the River, that's a great one if you can make it there. If you can also, there's no reason you couldn't go to both. If you can make it to 2 festivals, you could do Northwest World Reggae Festival and Reggae on the River. But anyway, if you can make it out to at least one, you'd be doing a good thing. So definitely cooking strategy is going to be real simple. I don't want to do anything real complicated. Like I said, at Reggae on the River, what I ended up doing was I went to a local sandwich place. It was just because it's real close. Not necessarily my favorite, but definitely not bad. What it was is Togo's. Make a decent sandwich. Interesting kind of a bread, a nice big hoagie. But anyway, I got 2 of those, and I want to say after about the 2nd or 3rd day I threw it away. I was getting a little worried, but I had like a little piece left, but that was perfect, right? Because I got it on site. I went up actually the night before, so I drove up, got to State Park, did a real simple camp. You can look at the video. I had a really cool little pop-up tent. Literally, it's almost like a car shade, and you just take it out and it springs into a little tiny one-person tent, and it was perfect. Not luxurious, but it went out and went in real fast, which is what I needed. So I had that, and I just had real quick, and I had a little sandwich ready to go, right? So not a bad idea to think about maybe bringing a pre-made sandwich if you don't want to, it's always good to save money, right? No reason you can't make a sandwich yourself, but if you're in a big hurry or whatever, or this is your big vacation and you want to splurge, pick your favorite sandwich shop, pick up 2 sandwiches, throw them in the cooler, and that way when you get there or along the drive, whatever, you've got something ready made that's good. And then pretty affordable too, right? So anyway, I brought 2 Togo sandwiches, and then I always knew if I didn't want to, that's the one thing I wanted to talk about. So we're going to a music festival, right? A couple things at a music festival. What are you going there to do? Are you just a real chill person? You don't indulge in any alcohol or any other things, right? Then you may be no problem to cook a 10-course meal out in the woods, no problem. But if you're going out to a music festival, maybe you're at the other end, right? You're going out to the music festival, and you're a big fan of Hunter Thompson, right? And you're like, I'm gonna go out and we're reenacting Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas every year. It's really hard to reenact Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and cook yourself a 10-course meal. The other thing, it's hot. So if you're reenacting Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and it's 100 degrees out, it's hard to cook yourself a decent meal. So plan ahead. Know who you are. Are you lazy? Are you inherently lazy? You're going to be getting out, camping, walking. It's 80 degrees. It's 100 degrees. You don't know what it's going to be, right? I've been out to festivals. It's been raining on me the first night. And then it was 100 degrees the next day. So that was here in Nevada one year. And that was a hilarious year. I had this really cool little chair that had a canopy, and then I brought a tarp, and I was the funniest looking guy out there because I was out there walking, and one of the few people out there watching music in the rain. A little tarp, all closed in inside, having a good time. It was my own little habitat, my own little hippie habitat. Anyway, so know who you are. For cooking, I like to go out to these festivals, have a good time. It's my one chance a year. My buddy Dave, he'll tell you the same thing. Man, Reggae's my one chance, So you get away from the family maybe, and you go have a good time. So if you're going to be indulging in anything that's going to kind of diminish your senses, take that into account for your cooking. I know it sounds silly to you, but when you get out there and it's hot, it's Sunday, and you've been deprived of your sleep because you're having a good time all weekend long, and just I'll tell you, even if you're not a party animal, I'm not a party animal. I'm not taking substances that are going to be keeping me up all night, but other people are. Other people are having, they have music playing at dome tents or something like that, and so people are up and making noise, and even if you want to try to get a good night's sleep, it's not going to happen. So be prepared for that. It's going to kind of like slowly bring you down as far as your energy levels. So Sunday, you can be dragging. Keep that in mind for your cooking. Maybe you prepare, I'm going to cook all of my meals, but you're planning Sunday, maybe you're going to buy a couple, right? So take all that into consideration. Who are you? Are you the choir child who's not going to indulge in anything at all? And the only thing that's going to be dragging you down will be the weather. If it's really hot, maybe that'll be the only thing wearing you out. So I'll leave it there. But that of a decade of experience, you go up there with intentions up here, but you also have intentions of reenacting Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and you find yourself down here burning chicken, hardly able to operate a barbecue because of things that you've consumed. So anyway, know who you are, know what your capabilities are. Be smart, don't waste money, don't waste food. It's not good to waste food. If you know you're not going to actually cook yourself a 10-course meal out in the woods, don't bring it with you. That's kind of a lot of things I've learned over the year. That would be the one thing I'd pass on, is be realistic about what you're planning on doing, and try not to waste food, because it's not good to waste food. So anyway, I'll leave it with that probably, and I'm going to intersperse some little shots of the cooking implements and some ideas. These are all car camping stuff, so we'll end it there. Already a very long video. Everybody have a great time. Hope you enjoy your camping, whatever you're doing this summer. My one opportunity this summer, my kids are probably still a little young. I'm actually curious how that first camping trip with them is going to go. I'll probably do something local. We have a really nice mountain right nearby, state park, that I can drive to. We could do some car camping. Even better if she starts to really not like it and flip out, it's a little scary at night maybe, we can pack everything up, hop back in the car, and get out of there. So anyway, that'll probably be in another year or two. I can start sharing camping with the kids, but until then, it's just me going out to music festivals for camping. So that's going to be my opportunity to do camping. That's the other great thing about music festivals, though, right? I didn't even we need to talk about that. It's a whole weekend opportunity to go camping. And some people will look at it as a good opportunity, and some people will look at that as, man, I'd love to go to that music festival, but there's 4 days of camping. So anyway, we'll wrap it up there. I hope to see everybody out at Northwest World Reggae Festival 2019. It's going to be a real good time right at the end of July. It's going to be 26th to the 28th, 2019, up in Marcola, Oregon. That's going to be my opportunity to go car camping and do some car camping cooking. So everybody have a good weekend, and hope you get a good opportunity to get out somewhere during the summer for camping.